This is from me to anybody listening out there.
Go ahead, yeah.
In all reality, these are tough times for small local businesses. They need your help, whether it's your favorite brewery, your favorite restaurant, whatever it is. You need to support your local businesses. You're already seeing breweries drop like flies, unfortunately, right now. It's tough times. This is not me speaking to you as a brewery owner. This is a small business owner talking to you. Everybody needs your help. Please go out there. If you have your favorite business, support them now more than ever.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Hot Break Craft Beercast. We are here, episode 23 at North Mountain Brewing Company. We have the dynamic duo of Candy and Rob joining us today. We're going to get in and talk about some really cool stuff. We're going to talk about the change of the industry. We're going to talk about menus and food trucks and the status of Beerfest, really. Check it out.
Completely unscripted, delightfully unfiltered, and 100% fun. Sit back, relax, and get ready to have a great time as they bring you the latest in beer news, Ben M brewing updates, and general shenanigans. And now, your hosts, the famed Brew Crew.
The first time I had skunked beer is my friend's. I'm not going to mention who they are, but his mom shops so much, and she's a couponer, so she'll buy like every single flavor of chip, like multiple types of beers, and she doesn't drink.
Yeah.
And so there's one day we were watching Super Bowl, and I was drinking a Bud Light, and I was like, this was before the commercials, and then I was like, this tastes citrusy. Like, what kind of beer is this? And I looked at it, and it was a Super Bowl from like 4 years ago.
Citrusy. All right.
We did we did a beer tasting one time for the YouTube channel. I got to talk about was it a pale ale or something? I screwed something up. It wasn't a healthy fermentation. It was acetaldehyde up the yin yang. I mean, it was awful. Oh. We hadn't tasted it before it was on camera, so we're sitting it and you're tasting it and you're kind of like, it's jarring. And JB's trying to be really nice because we're on camera tasting this, and you know, he's like, "Oh yeah, it's it's a good green apple. It's like I'm in the fall in the woods, and it's just the thing."
Walking
and I'm
through an apple orchard, I think he literally said on camera.
I did say that.
Yeah,
Little mold coming up from the ground. A little.
I'm not a brewer, so I'm learning everything from them as we go. I didn't know that was not something you sought after.
No, but kind of like you said with the Heineken flavor, like it's a new flavor, and so if you don't know, it's like, oh, this is crisp, and it's like cider. It's like it's a green apple. It's this is like a Jolly Rancher. This is fantastic. Yeah, yeah. If only I meant to do that.
To be completely transparent, I couldn't hide the disgust on my face.
No,
I emote when I drink. So if I don't like something, you're gonna know.
She almost had a visceral reaction on camera. Took one sip. Thought she had a stroke or something. Yeah, it was.
That's funny.
Early on, when I was in the homebrew shop, trying to remember what it was called, it was off of Baseline. This is ages ago. So anyone out there,
Brewers Connection.
Yeah,
Brewers Connection. Yes, the original Brewers Connection
Yes.
behind the Baseline.
That's where I got started. Yeah.
And Jeff was the skinnier guy, and then I think his name was Dave. He looked like Dave Crosby, actually.
Okay.
Right? Do you remember? Anyways. So I was in there, and these frat boys had come in, and they were trying to replicate a beer because they didn't. Well, so it turns out they just used brewer's yeast to ferment out sugar, and they got this beautiful tang punch, like the Hawaiian punch tang.
Yeah.
And they loved it. And of course, that's just absolute stress of the yeast. It's because there's absolutely no
nutrients in there. It's just straight sugar. Yeah.
And so it freaks them out. And these guys, and the whole conversation was funny because they're trying to explain to them that this isn't a good thing. Yeah. And they're trying to explain that this is crushing it at the frat house and just like standing in the background listening to that conversation.
It's pretty funny.
No, it was fun.
It's like, no, what you've done is an abomination. No. It's so popular. They love it. This is wrong.
It's like jungle juice.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah, they don't care. It's whatever. Yeah. Oh my God, that's funny. Well, we appreciate you guys having us out.
Oh, we
I mean, this has
appreciate
been
you guys
and
coming.
taking the
you
time
for
because I know
having
you guys are having to come a little bit
Yeah.
early, and our setup is a little crazy, and but this is so much
Wow.
fun. We love to kind of sit in and kind of get the behind the scenes story and talk about the breweries because I think it's important to support local.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of competition out there. There's a lot of breweries, and not just your local pub, but the commercial stuff too. There's a lot, so to differentiate and set yourselves apart is tough, and I think it's tough for breweries that are opening now or within the past 2 years. Opening doors and don't have a foothold. I think it's definitely challenging.
It is. It'll create an opportunity, though. It's all in how you look at it. Because when we opened up, it was right after the Great Recession, or
Yeah, 2013.
Yes.
So it was
and
kind of
it
Yeah.
was
down.
also at the bottom of the market.
Yeah.
There's something lean about opening up that if you survive, it gets easier.
Yeah.
God, did I say that? Nothing gets easier.
Nothing
it
gets
never
easier.
gets easier.
Yeah.
But the point being, the market gets better. I mean, if you can learn to survive under those conditions,
Right. When the market comes back, things get
where
easier.
Where I know at
Yeah.
our time, having just opened up, there were other breweries that were experiencing more success
Yeah.
that now had to figure out how to dial back.
Right. Yeah.
And you could say that we're going through some level of that now.
Yeah, more so
and-
than where we are. Another brewery went bankrupt this morning.
Oh.
There, I
Who?
don't know. Another big brewery. It's on my news feed, but I didn't have a chance to read it yet. Every 2 days, I see a news feed. Okay, another brewery.
What
is
was the
merging,
one that happened a
closing.
couple weeks ago?
BRI and
Beer Research
Walter,
Institute.
Walter
Yeah.
Station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, Walter Station?
Walter Station.
Yeah,
shut
they're still
down.
gonna brew, but they shut down their
Oh,
tap
that's right.
room. Tap room, and then the
Well, BRI
If you-
didn't shut down, but they're stopping brewing, and they're going to be a restaurant, tap house, something like that now.
Okay.
So the whole thing isn't disappearing, but yeah,
Yeah.
They're changing the
ceased
model big time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's realigning to make sure that it's lean and mean right now.
Right.
So
I mean,
it's a lean time.
I feel like you even see it not just locally, but massive breweries that are across the country. Of you just see another article that this one's closing or this one's closing, and I think it was like Modern Times, wasn't it? Was one of them a while ago, and like
yeah,
and-
that was surprising.
Yeah.
They were growing so fast from San Diego, right? You're
Mhm.
like, there's no way.
yeah.
I thought they were one of the untouchables, but they're not.
Yeah.
They grew up. So, I don't know. I mean, they just kept
There's-
expanding.
There is no such thing as an untouchable.
I know that. I mean, I don't know. That was kind of surprising. People are just, you think they're doing better. They open new place every year, every 2 years, and then all of a sudden, within 3, 4 years, they're folding, and that's like a lot of money and time.
Yeah. It's
I
a
mean,
big capital investment
Big capital
for
like I'm
brewing. I
thinking
mean,
for-
it's a huge leap of faith.
Yep.
With the amount of startup capital you need.
Yeah. I mean, just a tap house, you're talking equipment, those kegerator, you're talking at least 100, maybe 100,000,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of money for
Yeah.
a small place, I don't know. So I don't know who's doing well, honestly. 'Cause I'm seeing every week somebody's merging, closing.
Right.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
That's what I was telling Rob.
Where's do you hear that?
I think it's a truck
I might.
or it's an AC unit.
Yeah, it might be ours actually.
That's okay.
Can't tell.
That's okay. It's
Okay.
we've gotten definitely used to like the sounds of a working brewery and
Yes.
a working location. We're toy fine. This
Yeah.
one
Ugh.
tends to freak out, but
I'm kind of an audiophile. I love the good clean audio, so it's a growth opportunity for me to be like, it's okay for those outside noises. We're outside. You know what I mean?
I
We-
think what
we were
happened
in
was
a
the front porch,
porch.
happened, and we were in the middle of a podcast, and the dad comes in, and he's pulling out a ladder, and then suddenly the giant Connect Four just like
Someone pulls the bottom out of it, and you just hear this massive crash. So I'm in the middle of talking, and I'm like, oh.
you definitely started twitching.
I
a little
did,
bit,
I
yeah.
did, yeah.
But
yeah.
now we're okay.
I'm
with
good
it.
now.
Yeah.
I have a lot of Zoloft. It really helps. Helps keep the anxiety down, and the beer definitely helps. It does help.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
Oh, these are delicious. So this is the rye IPA.
Yes.
What do you think, Christy?
I'm going to be honest. This is one of the best, if not the best, rye IPA I've had.
I
and
agree.
I will not. I have a visceral reaction. Like if I don't like something, I'll say it. This is amazing. It's
Thank you.
smooth. You don't really taste the rye very much. But I'm an IPA girl through and through. Ask him, he gets annoyed. But this, you can taste the hops. It's balanced though, and it's very drinkable. So
But there's a crispness to it too that kind of dries the palate out in the finish, and so you come back for more. And like
Yeah, I
I'm
like
not a
it when
huge
it's
rye
kind of-
IPA fan. There's something about the spice in there, and I get a little bit of that in the finish, but it's pleasant. It's really good.
And it is a roasted rye. That's what the color comes from. So
Okay, yeah, because it's got the nice reddish to it.
it's, and just a little bit of chocolate in there.
Okay.
A little roasty.
yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. JB, you went with
It's
the cream
gold-
ale?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really good. It's really smooth, light.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
It's crystal clear. That is a beautiful beer. When you first poured it, the head on it was really, really nice.
And that is, everyone generally is a little nicer about needing clear beer, since the hazy craze, which I'm fine with because we've never owned a filter. I don't like the filter.
It removes some of the flavor.
It
You
takes
have to
away aroma,
readapt for
body. It takes
Yeah.
everything with it.
Yeah.
And it, unless it's chalky, full of yeast. My point being, that one has to be crystal clear
Mm-hmm.
because if you're going to come in and ask for a Bud Light or something, yes, people still do that. That's what you're going to get. That's where you're going to get directed to. And for that drinker, if it's hazy at all, it's just no. You've blown it. You've screwed up. So that beer has
to be clear.
That's
Yeah.
the one that absolutely has to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. But it's great that you don't filter because, again, that, like you said, that strips out flavor and aroma. And I mean, you can kind of compensate for it, but there's so much work on the back end of the recipe to correct for that. It's like just clarify and don't rush it out too much. I mean, obviously, you got to get stuff moving out, but
Yeah.
give it time to settle, give it time to drop right, and let it mature a little bit.
I feel like that beer is the epitome of what I would think of a beer to look like. Like if you were to ask an AI image, like what would I need a pint of beer. That's what it would look like. It's clear. It's the right color. It's actually really gorgeous.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if you're looking for an ultra, though, that'd be pretty scary looking.
It's got too much color.
It's got a little bit of color in there. I don't know about that.
Oh, put some ice cubes in and it'll be fine.
Right?
So what are you drinking?
I am drinking the baby Belgian.
Okay.
Really?
And I heard you guys talking Belgians. Was it?
Oh, yeah.
You guys
We
went through
are.
a Belgian phase a couple of years
still
ago.
love them, but we were just obsessed with them for a while, trying to brew our
Yeah.
own and just going to the commercial examples, Chimay and like just all that.
Oh, those are so good.
blue.
I know.
the blue.
Yeah.
They're dangerous.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just did the whole Chimay lineup a week or two ago.
Oh, yeah?
I hadn't done it in a while, and I was walking through wines or more, right? Not the one on Happy Valley. I'm sorry, you guys have no selection. I turned my back on you.
It's either Total Wines, Bevmo, or
Yeah, I think Bevmo's out there, and
Yeah.
I had to go all the way. I was buying a birthday or present for one of our cooks,
Yeah.
and I got him a Golden Drock,
Oh.
Yeah.
and I was standing there, and there's all the Chimays staring at me. I'm like, red, white, blue, special, or
They had
all
that,
four.
They released that green one. It was like 2 years ago or so.
Oh, I
Their
didn't see
anniversary
Oh, I
is
haven't
Yeah.
tried
not
that.
great.
No,
No.
not good.
No, it's a little weak.
Really?
Yeah. I was not a fan. I went to a tasting up a couple of years ago, and they were launching and releasing. I'm like, oh, this is great, and it wasn't great.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it was good, but not like their others. Like, oh, yeah, really good. Candy, what are you enjoying
Oh,
today?
this one right here is the Simcoe.
Oh, that's right. That was the one I was thinking
Yeah,
about
the
until
super-
somebody talked me out of it.
Yeah.
With a taster.
I did no talking. The beer talks for me.
Yes.
Yeah. I brewed this with raw. So it's kind of a lot of
So-
Simcoe.
Yeah.
So we renamed it the Simcoe Patico because I thought that was funny.
That's
Whether
good.
it's funny or not doesn't matter in my mind. It's funny.
That's all that matters.
But so it's basically a smash, except for I didn't plan to do it, and I just went with the ingredients. So it actually, as dumb as this is, has Pilsner and American two-row.
Okay.
So even though it's all base malt, I'm like, I'm not going to call it a smash because
It's not single malt.
it's not
Technically,
technically
yeah.
a single malt. All right.
Yeah.
So it's essentially the same as the Simcoe Smash we've put out
Yeah.
before. But
Okay. Very cool. So a smash beer is single malt, single hop. So the beer is made with only one malt, only one hop, and it's
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, for those who don't know, because if you're not, a brewer, you may not necessarily know that. Even someone that enjoys craft beer may not necessarily know what a smash beer is.
And the funny thing is, okay, up until a couple of years ago, I've never brewed a smash. I had no interest. I like we were talking about earlier, I kind of, some of my ex-brewers would make fun of me. I have some very complex recipes.
Okay.
I just, yes, there is a pound of that malt in this 700-pound. Yes, that is, and you are weighing it out, and it is going in there. By God, it belongs there. And it does. It's there for a reason.
Right.
But I've been kind of simplifying my recipes. So I started brewing smashes, and honestly, I've been enjoying doing it. It's just
It's amazing the amount of flavor and complexity you can get out of some simple ingredients without overcomplicating it, and it really helps to highlight more of whatever hop you're using. It's not overpowered by the grain, so it can be used as an educational tool if you're trying to learn what hops taste like, kind of on the back end. But they are delicious beers, very simple, and
And I've through time bought smashes in bottle to so you can isolate those flavors.
Yeah.
But by then, it just never really conveyed. I never had the smash where I was like, okay, I get it. It was, they've been sitting in warehouses and stuff.
Yeah.
This is no reflection on the brewery. This is just the way beer's handled. But something like specifically a hoppy beer is very time sensitive. It is very fragile.
Yes.
So you go get something, it doesn't quite convey.
No, you got to hit those fresh and definitely
it's
controlled.
always the best.
Yes.
Yeah, the best.
I feel like one of the best beers that you've brewed is a smash beer. Like, I think it was when we first started brewing together and realized that we both like beer. I think it was like the kitchen sink one, and I think we
Christie's
just
kitchen sink.
yeah, and we just it was just whatever he had, and it was one.
Yeah, just a regular US 2-row, and then I don't remember what hop we threw in
I don't,
there.
but it was.
It might have been a
literally-
Cascade.
It was literally the best beer that I think we've done.
It's been all
Yeah.
downhill from there. Like every beer after that
Yeah.
has been. I set the bar too high with that first one.
No, I feel like it's just more like you start having to go back to like what's the process and what's wrong. So like there was a point where we were brewing like the same recipes that we've done before, but something changed in the ingredients or something like there's no way that it could have been that off, if that makes sense. Like we do all of the right things, we test the gravity, we do all that, and it still tasted thin. So now we're like, okay, what's wrong? Is it infected? Is it the malt? Or is it the grain? I don't know. So yeah.
Yeah. But that was always kind of the fun with brewing too, is going through and troubleshooting and figure out what's different batch to batch. And especially on a smaller scale, I mean, minor changes make huge differences. Like it really.
Well, and in an example like that, the first batch may have been the problem.
That was the abnormal one.
But you know what I mean? You're chasing these unknowns over here, but it's behind you.
Yeah.
Turn around and, you'd see, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But
When you put it that way, that
Yeah.
actually makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
so the brewers that go out there, home brewers that go out there and replicate recipes, never inclined to do that myself. For me, the point is to make something new.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, that is an art. I have a lot of respect for those people because some of those people dialed in so well that, that may not be where my mind is working at, but I fully appreciate the people that can go in there.
Yeah,
and
that's
just
not something
absolutely
I've ever
nail.
been able to do. Like,
Just
it's amazing how they can do that.
A question I like to ask is, as an artist, cause I paint, sometimes you're have a structure and you're doing to the T. Are you doing a lot of experimenting, or how do you brew? Are you more by the number or by feel?
I would say both. I know, this gets into a pretty broad answer, but a lot by feel, to be honest. I'll flip on a dime.
Mm-hmm.
The beer is the priority.
Right.
And there have been times that's not always been an easy lesson to learn. I'm going to give a weird example, but I was probably a little too much of a purist up until a couple of years ago. And then it suddenly realized, well, okay, what's the point? Is this for my pride? Because I'll use an example. Don't hold this against me. I made a watermelon beer. What was it? Watermelon
that was
Live.
so good.
But getting
Sounds
watermelon
good.
flavor into a beer, this may be the beer that actually made me change my mind because
It's so
I ended up having to put watermelon extract, and I swore I would never
Use
put an
extracts.
extract in a beer. Hell no. But you know what? It's what the beer needed to be the best beer it could be.
Yes.
Get off your high horse. Get over it,
Like, it sold out right there. It was
And-
so
Really?
good. Oh
and
my
it
God.
did well.
It's summer.
And it just,
Yeah.
brewing with
Yeah.
watermelon. Oof.
Really?
Without flavoring.
It didn't
Yeah.
carry.
Well,
It-
because
it's
It's water.
It's water,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what it was. It was
Yeah.
like, we were trying. I'm like, where's the watermelon?
Right,
Like,
right.
Yeah.
So I
Which
guess
totally makes sense. I mean,
so I guess it goes back to, what does the beer need? Does it
Right.
need to be me to be on my high horse, or does it need me to be able to pivot on a dime? So I may start out strictly in my mind, but brew day, I'll look at a recipe and go, nah, cross that out, change that number, do that. The Baby Belgian, actually.
yeah.
So before I brewed the Baby Belgian, I brewed the Neurotic. One of the first beers I came out with was Neurotic, 10.2. And it was really popular.
Okay.
And I wanted to know, was it the Belgian or was it the 10.2? So I took the recipe and I scaled it down, and I was getting ready to brew the Baby Belgian.
okay.
But at the last minute, I looked at that recipe and I'm like, no, I can't do that. So I ended up scrambling it around, and among other things, this gets a very small late kettle hop edition.
Okay.
Not much, it's just a little bit there. But the point being is that's the perfect example of I wanted to compare these two beers side by side, strictly scaled down. But then on brew day, nah, that's boring.
Right?
No, I can't do that. So I started scribbling, and then here's
And
the
there it
baby.
is.
the baby.
Yeah.
Puts the heart in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so it was boring. You're gonna scale a recipe? Wow.
Right.
I don't know. For me, we joke. I admit to my ADD. Not everybody does, and I'm not pointing fingers.
No, you have to be able to harness it and use it for good.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah.
See,
It
that's
really,
what it is.
I mean,
That's what it is.
It's a superpower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really is.
I know. I joke. It is one of my greatest strengths and my greatest weaknesses.
You're talking
but
to
Yeah.
between JB and I, we're two admittedly a little on the ADHD
They
spectrum.
absolutely admit it, but every single time we shoot any video or get together and do a creative day, I'm like,
if I have my mouth open and I'm like this, I'm trying to pick which thought to articulate.
Yeah.
it's literally an emotional roller coaster because I don't know what's coming next, and I'm a planner, and I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. and we're feeding off of each other. It's
Oh
just
my
it's
God.
but we
Yeah.
try to harness it. Use that power for
With our
good.
powers combined.
Yes.
How boring would life be if they were calm and predictable?
Right?
Oh, it's fun.
Are you? You're not. Or I take it you're more the.
I feel like we just made you very uncomfortable.
Yeah. No, it
She's like, I'm
everybody
outnumbered.
has it and stuff, but I don't know. He thinks I have it, but I don't think I have it.
We belong together.
I love it.
But I want to clarify. I came up with a new term the other week. I don't have ADHD or ADD. I have restless mind syndrome.
Oh, I
I'm
like
using that.
that.
It's a t-shirt. It's a t-shirt.
Is it?
Yeah.
It should be now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am
You guys should
shamelessly
do that
stealing
for
that.
You should have a shirt with you with the beer saying that.
Restless mind
The
syndrome.
cure.
That'd be a good beer name.
Sure.
Here.
That'd be a really good
That would
beer
be
name.
A good, restless mind syndrome. There you go.
You could
That'll be
do a party guile. The first one is restless mind syndrome, and the later batches are the cure.
Right? Yeah.
I like it. I like it. That's
those
beautiful.
moments.
Well, it's interesting because I tend to be very analytical, and when I brew, I'm putting the grains on the scale. Like I'm extremely precise, and we don't deviate from this. This is what we must do.
my God.
So I have a hard time breaking out of into the creative mode and being like throw whatever in there, and that's that's tough for me. I appreciate brewers that are able to be creative and take a chance, and because I'm afraid of screwing it up.
I think you're just looking at it wrong. You need to make that the goal.
To screw it up.
Well, kind of.
Yeah,
but,
in a way.
But to mix it up, to throw it up
Yeah.
in the air, because I understand exactly, but
Kinda like-
it's a little mental trick. But instead of it being
Yeah.
happenstance, it's the goal. Now you can obsess on that.
Yeah.
And that's how you get it there.
Yeah.
That is the obsession. Instead of it fighting the obsession, make it the obsession.
That's an interesting way to kind of reverse it.
It
like
is.
like you said too, with maybe the later beers weren't the problem. It was the first one that was the abnormal one. It's just a way of looking at it kind of differently, but very zen.
It is actually the problem is too like you combine his analytics with my OCD, and when I'm prepping ingredients and minerals, he even bought me a little scoop for because we're doing small batch, obviously, just the little scoop to do the freaking what is it, like calcium chloride?
Yeah, we're doing the
Oh,
mineral
wow.
additions and stuff, so I got her a cocaine scale
Well, yeah.
because they're real
Oh
precise.
no! My employees did a double take when
What's-
I've got my cocaine scale
Yeah.
upstairs.
What's weird is when she gets done, she makes a line with it on the mirror
Okay.
before we
it
put it in the
dissolves.
water.
You got to, dispersal. Yes,
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, she puts it in and then just rubbing it on her teeth.
Right.
Relax. Okay.
And do you stand over her shoulder a little fidgety when she does that? You're like,
Like, don't spill that. Don't. What
Can
are
I-
you doing?
can
What are
I
you doing?
do that?
Can I help? Is it my turn? Can I?
Can I-
yeah.
Oh wow.
and by that I mean, what are you talking about?
Yeah, no.
I'm lost.
Yeah. That never happens.
Oh, that's funny.
That's awesome.
Well, when you're starting out as a home brewer, like every single ingredient matters. At least in my mind, like it was because I cook a lot. That's my hobby. Like, so I tend to just like go off of that type of mentality. I do add stuff here and there based on taste, but when it comes to certain things, like if you're baking or whatever, you're like, it has to be measured to the T. So like, I understand now that that's obviously not true because we've still come out with some rough beers. So it didn't help. Yeah.
It happens.
It happens.
But it's interesting too when you talk about brewing and taste and recipes. It's different than cooking in that there's the flavors go through so many organic changes throughout the whole process that what you're tasting, and that's why I appreciate people that are tasting something like, oh yeah, this will come through really nice. I'm like, how do you know? You have mashed it, boiled it, fermented it, or carbonated it? Like how do you know how that's going to develop over time with all of these other factors? I appreciate so much the people that are able to do that, and like you said, they can clone recipes. Like I have not that skill, but the people that can it's amazing.
Well, and it does parallel cooking a lot, and this is what I tell people that are trying to learn from me. And if you're cooking, how do you know when to use oregano? Smell oregano.
Yeah.
Learn what it is. I mean, early on, I still do it, but not as much. But I eat grain pretty
Right.
regularly.
Oh, my kids are always bugging me to eat that on brew days.
Not now.
Yeah.
Segue. See, this is where restless mind syndrome comes in because it's story time, everybody. So we had a TV channel here, we had a news channel here, and they were doing an interview, and it was live on the air. And she asked me, I'm talking grains. She asked, "Is it edible?" And I say, "Yes." She grabs like 10 pieces and pops it in her mouth and starts chewing, and it's like, well, let's just say it didn't make for good TV.
Yeah.
She had to cut out
Yeah.
because. Yes, it is edible. You didn't say, should I pile a mouthful in?
Right.
Yeah, off camera, eat two. That's
Right.
Not a
for all the
mouthful.
listeners. 2 or 3 gets you a pretty
You could
good.
do that and spit out the husk.
And spit, swallow. We don't judge. We don't judge.
No,
Over the line. Are we still
No,
safe?
no,
Are we
you're
on
good.
air?
we're good. No, we're good.
This
This is uncensored. This is great. I was
Yeah,
about to
slam
say
dunk
spitters
it.
or quitters, but
You kind of softballed it out there
Yeah,
for
you
me.
did.
So
You loved it.
I think you knew what you're doing. You're welcome.
yeah.
But yeah,
Hang
that
on.
was hysterical. All of a sudden she gets bug-eyed as she understands that, yeah, you're chewing on wood now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again,
God.
that was not meant to refer back to
Yeah.
that other joke.
No, I know.
I made that mistake. I went to
Stop
culinary
that.
school. I made that mistake with wasabi.
Oh,
I had
yeah.
never heard of wasabi,
Yeah.
and it was
yeah.
it was a big box of powder.
Oh,
And then we were taught, like, this was the beginning of culinary school, and they said you need to taste everything before you use it. Like, how do
Yeah.
you know if you
Yeah.
don't taste it?
Right.
So we had spoons with us from something else we had just tried. And I just
Oh.
took a big scoop, shoved the whole scoop in. But as I was, the chef's like, no, and I'm like, what? And dude, I have never felt pain like that since I had Thai food.
I heard it's like
But-
Oh my
childbirth.
God.
Yes, it was bad.
Yeah.
Came out
But-
of my nose,
Ugh.
Oh.
and
But-
that burned too.
You now know what wasabi
I'm
is.
very familiar with wasabi.
That was sorry.
Well
Yeah.
acquainted now.
Well acquainted.
Oh my gosh.
Hasn't gone back since. How's therapy going, by the way?
Traumatized.
Yeah. Yeah, traumatized.
For you or the doctor?
For all the above. Oh my god.
Oh, that's funny. So what speaking of the beer and the trying to restless mind syndrome. So what prompted you guys to want to open a brewery? Like what was the inspiration and based on where you are now, because is it you guys celebrated your was it 12th
13th.
year?
Oh, 12th, yes.
12th
We're
year.
in
Was that in
13th.
March?
Yeah.
March. Okay.
Yeah.
So after 12 years, what was the inspiration for way back in the day for opening it during a downturn?
Wow, that was a lot of work.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
well, it's how do I briefly put this? So the bottom line is this is the third company I've run or that we've run together.
Okay.
And the other one before this, it was a graphics installation, like wrapping buses,
Yeah.
doing a bunch of stuff in Bank One Ballpark, like
Or the Diamondback
Or,
Stadium. Yeah.
yeah, it was Bank One back there, like those big doors that open up. I've been up on swing stages putting those graphics up
Wow.
and stuff. That was cool. Not the best paying job, but that one did all right. But that was just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm weird. I like heights, or at least I used to like them more. I took a fall a while. It changes things. But anyways, basically, the timing of it was purely accidental. I was already trying to get into it, trying to segue out of the old business. And when the economy, before that, I went to Siebel Brewing Institute in 2008,
Oh wow.
No, 2007.
2007.
Yeah.
Were you
So-
homebrewing before that?
I started home brewing again. I'm sorry, everything has a story, but I
No, you're
started
good.
home brewing in 90 or 91 is
Oh my
my
gosh.
first official batch.
Wow.
I actually have my logbook upstairs. The first real batch was in 88, and it's a funny story, so we'll rip through that real quick.
No,
I
you're good.
found an instant ginger beer recipe on the ground. I didn't know anything about fermentation. I knew beer had to ferment, and that instant beer wasn't a thing. But people, I was 19.
Yeah.
So yes, we went and got fresh ginger root. We went and made a big batch of this stuff. Had a party. Everyone came over. Most people figured out and left. It was me and this one guy, Darren, playing quarters all night. You feeling anything? No. Okay, keep playing. Keep playing.
It's
like
ginger beer. Yeah.
ginger beer, instant ginger beer.
Yeah.
Like went from the pot to our. So the long and short of it is, I couldn't stand the smell of ginger for like 20 years after that. Holy hell! That's all that came out of that. So we don't talk about that one too much, but technically, I guess that was my first attempt to make. And the funny thing is, there was this lady that saw what I was doing, and she like tried telling me right, but I'm a 19-year-old. Trying to sneakily make beer. Why are you talking to me, lady? And so I like ran in fear. And this was up in Flagstaff. People, she was
Funny.
absolutely there to help.
Yeah.
But
That's
that.
hilarious.
But that wouldn't have been nearly as cool a story now, would it?
No.
I think that says a lot about your personality. Like you find something on the ground and you're like, I think I'm gonna try this.
This-
Like I mean, most people would just be like, this is trash.
Yeah, well,
Yep. Yep.
I mean, to put it another way, just to, like a little insight into me, I've always, I don't want to say a tinkerer, but I'm always restless in the mind.
Yes.
I used to make tie-dyes. Taught myself to make tie-dyes. I actually still have, okay, we're talking, this is me making beer money, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I did enough tie-dye that I actually have a box of, at that time, like $2,000 worth of dye. So that's how much tie-dyeing I was doing. I would make them in Flagstaff, and the Union, which I don't think exists, the big area between like Tinsley Hall and Sechrist. I lived
Yeah.
in Sechrist. My buddies lived in Tinsley. We'd make the tie-dyes over there. I'd unwrap them, put them on a broomstick to let them dry as I walked back to... Most of the time I wouldn't get back with any shirts. People would see me walking across, and I sell them for $10 each. I mean... But yeah, so that was my source of beer money. I even... Yes, other than the tickets we bought beforehand, funded a whole, a Long Beach Grateful Dead weekend selling tie-dyes. And once again, all the good tie-dyes were gone before I even got to the concert. And I set up on the sidewalk in front of the gate, and people like were scooping them up. They were garbage. They were garbage. All the cool ones never even made
Never
it.
made it to the venue.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm just.
Do you ever have tie-dye nights here?
No, we used to make tie-dyes, and actually I have a big box of shirts to
Yeah,
be tie-dyed.
still at home.
The last time we did it, I made my daughter help. And
3 daughters.
well, no, it was just me and Aaron.
Yeah.
And I think we did like 42 shirts.
Oh, so
It was no longer fun.
Because it's
It
too
was a
much.
lot.
10,
of work.
12 is fun. You're goofing off. You're having your fun.
40,
but yeah,
you
by
get
the time you
tired.
get into a production
I've done it
system.
before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you do 40, you're like at the end of. You're like,
Well, and then you have to wait a day and then rinse them all back out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was a couple years ago. I haven't done them since. We actually did for employees. We told them, bring your stuff in. I'm going to make tie-dyes. And
Yeah,
you
we
can
did
do your
here
stuff.
for.
Actually, it's back
Christmas.
over there
Okay.
over the drain.
Yeah. It was
But
fun. We
and
still
a
have
couple
some.
showed up. Not a lot,
Yeah.
but
right.
It's
It's
just
cool.
a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a total lot of
It's
work.
a mess.
Yeah.
Especially if you start
Yeah.
getting intricate with the designs.
At home, our tub is all
I'm-
full of color and dye.
I made some pretty good tie-dyes. They weren't the A+, but they were B+. They were
Right.
pretty solid. I bought dye thickener so I could do the looser, more intricate patterns, but I kind of faded at that point. So
Right.
I don't think I ever used the dye thickener at all.
Yeah. We
But-
still have
but-
the shirts. We should do some.
Not today.
It's a
though.
lot of work.
Not right,
Not
not right now.
So you started your ginger beer was your first foray into brewing.
Yeah.
So what gave you the idea to open a brewery? And I'm actually very impressed that you said you had 3 businesses you guys had done together,
And you're still married.
and you're still married. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm like, that's a strong foundation.
I can paint it even worse because the second company was the graphics application, and she actually worked for my dad's company. She would sell it, and so I was a subcontractor for her. Let me tell you, that tests a relationship. Forget about being partners. When you're the sub,
Well,
and no, I'm
you
not
work
going to
with
totally.
Colangelo. You
Yes,
gotta
I'm not gonna-
deliver. dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
going
Work
to
with
totally throw her
Colangelo.
under the bus. Yes, the Diamondbacks were the big job of the
Yeah, I
year.
remember the World Series,
And it was a
1998.
big
Yeah.
Right?
That was
freak
big.
out.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't get the
That
art to her till a week before it had to be installed.
Yeah.
So I understand why it rolled down on me because, of course, they're the client. They delay it, but you can't delay it.
No,
And
Yeah.
you still have to deliver. Yeah.
so
Yeah, you can mark it up 1,000%. That's what Colangelo said. Hey, you guys got to deliver. So if he can't do it, I got to go to the next subcontractor, and he gets like, hey.
and then there,
Yeah.
and then there'd be funny things like one time when they're sending me out and I'm doing the graphics out on the outfield wall, and all of a sudden they start going out and hitting batting practice.
Yep. Yes, this
Like,
really
no.
happened.
Were you getting hit at?
No,
Yeah.
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 Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're out. They don't warn us. They just start hitting balls out there.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Guess where I don't want to be during MLB batting
Yeah.
practice.
That
Yeah.
hurts.
Yeah.
And then the other funny story. This is right after the World Series, and we were putting something. I forget, but we were over the bullpen,
Mhm.
and we're all sitting there putting up this graphics. All of a sudden, I look down, and Mr. Kurt Schilling walks out. And he knew who to look at, maybe because I was the only one that gave a damn, because I've got this look of, oh, hell. So he knew I was the one in charge. I look at him. He looks at me. Lunch. Because the last thing I wanted to do was have my guys dropping things on Kurt Schilling,
Oh.
who just won
Yeah.
World Series.
You know, and he's MVP and all that. And yeah, that would have made me the Bartman of Phoenix.
Yeah,
And
dude,
so-
everybody.
So it was lunchtime. We're out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's like we talked about it before we even went on air with the podcast, but JB and I used to also work sporting events, so it's crazy how all of our worlds kind of collide. Because at that same time, I was on because I used to work in sports broadcasting before I got into where I'm at. So I was on the field, and I understand exactly what you guys are talking about. But I also feel like sometimes you take jobs because it's the experience. It might not be the highest paying job, but I got to stand on the field of Bank One ballpark at the time, or go to the World Series or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. It's just kind of funny how things come around full circle. Like him and I were literally at the same.
We were in the same press
And
box.
they're in-
Like,
yeah.
probably 10 years before we
at
worked
the
together.
Insight Bowl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally
And we
10
have
years
the
before we worked
same
together.
press pass.
We had the exact
Oh,
like
wow.
so I posted it on Facebook. She's like, "Hey, I was there," and then
And I
she
posted
posted
my
hers.
picture.
So we had literally been like within like at least
In the same room.
in the
Yeah.
same room.
On the same field.
Yeah.
In the same job.
Yeah.
So it's just
It was
kind of
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
So I understand why you like the experiences you're talking about, because no one will really understand how cool that is to be able to say like, oh, this happened.
Yeah.
Sure, it was scary and I could have been killed by a ball, but like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Well, this isn't nearly as cool as it sounds, but I've ridden an ATV in Bank One Ballpark.
That's pretty cool.
Wow.
I also, we did a lot of work there. We used to hang those big banners on top. So we were on the cherry picker. You guys know what the cherry picker
Yes.
is? Like the blue genie with the big. So two things. We used to, and those had big bars and they were just awkward. And you just lived with the tilt alarm going off constantly. It scares you the first couple times, but there's the pillars. You've got the tractor behind the pillar with the arm outreach and fully extended out at this weird angle. It was sketchy. But, again, the tilt alarm constantly, whatever.
Yeah.
There's only one big ramp to get vehicles up to the top.
Oh no.
I got the cherry picker stuck in the doorway because it's just a regular two-way doorway. I mean, it's a little bit bigger, but you had to like jiggle it, go in and out to get it to go
Austin
in.
Powers.
That's what
Well, it took me a while to get out of there. I was pissing off a lot of people. And it again was one of those I had to get the bucket through the doorway and then back up. And it was a nightmare. And luck, I got it out. I didn't think. I thought I was gonna have to run, but in the end,
Those were the days.
So you figured after all that, brewery be easy to open.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. We're talking breweries. That's right. We're on to that.
Funny. Yeah.
So the question: why did we open a brewery?
No, we're having a blast. Like we got good beer. We're talking.
Yeah.
Like this is outstanding. We're loving it.
I'll
I'm
tell
not
you.
gonna lie, I am already down my red.
Mhm.
So I will. This has never happened on a podcast, but I'm just telling you this is how good this beer is.
Well,
'cause
thank you.
I never usually run out because I shouldn't say this, but normally I'm like, I'll take a seltzer because I'm just like so full of beer. But this is like so good, so I will probably be getting
Awesome.
a refill
I
soon.
appreciate it. So I guess that brings us to the real answer. You want to open a brewery? Just drink lots of beer and fantasize about things and wake up thinking you're right. That's all it takes.
That's the leap of faith.
That
is the leap of faith.
But my
Oh,
joke,
yes.
actually, early on when people asked me that, my serious joking answer was, it's very simple. You dig a hole too big to crawl out, and you jump in. There you are.
And there you are.
There you
Yeah.
are. That's
True story.
that's.
You can't back down now.
No.
Yeah.
You're in. You're in. You got to dig your way out.
You're,
now.
Yeah, the
now you're in
math.
it to win it. That's yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So but everything that we've seen and what you guys have gone through over the past 12 years, 13 years, was this the original vision or has this evolved? Like, did you originally have the full menu that you have now, or did you just open with the intent of having beer? Like, what was the evolution of what you have today?
Well, okay, we pre-opening went through every scenario,
Yeah.
about what do we want to do. But there were certain lines that I was going to draw, and if we were going to have food, which was always the intent, and this was pre-revolution, food truck revolution. It was
Yes.
just starting. We talked about that, but we really didn't want to go that way. We wanted to offer a level of quality of food that was on par with where I feel our beer is.
Okay.
So it was an early decision. That there were many, many decisions to be made.
Well, sure.
Yeah. But in the end, it was like, well, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right.
Yeah.
We're going to put out good food, and we're not just going to, put out. I won't. Pre-frozen pressed patties.
Right.
that-
Yeah, we can't eat it. And the real reality, I would say a smack on your face was COVID. We had to shut down the actual, kitchen several times. We had to, before even the mayor said, hey, shut it down. Because, the breakout and stuff, you have one, you got to shut down the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I really could not live without food. We saw that I when all our staff were gone, I started crying every day for over a week, me and Rob, because we're so used to a prep manager. He's here. He does the lumpia roll, the egg roll and all this stuff that we prep, and he preps every day. So I was like, it was not our business plan. It's not the vision that me and Rob talked about even before we had kids. You kind of dream about your dream in the future when you're young. You're like, oh yeah, we're gonna open this and that. It was not. It's like a bodega. It's like a warehouse. You're in it for like that. Well, I'm like, hon, I'm out. I gotta have my food. I can't just open a brewery without the food. It's just not the same.
Well, I think it adds a level of complexity to the brewery, but there's other benefits that come with it as far as people are able to come there not just for the beers if they want to grab some food. Do you find that they tend to stay longer then with the food?
It definitely affects on a lot of ways the way customers interact. The easy answer is yes. Now, the downside of it, as far as breweries goes, I do believe that people take the brewery side less serious if it's a brew pub.
Okay, yeah.
Because they kind of view you as a restaurant.
With the brewery in the back.
Yeah.
That becomes a perception.
For some people, there
Okay.
is at least some people perceive it that way, that it's, you guys are just a restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah. And but over time, it's just like I'm the manager Tuesday. We always have pizza of the week, the burger of the week, the sandwich of the week. I look forward to that. That is with you guys. And then beer of the week. So I love what the chefs come in. I mean, like Jackie, she has a master's degree in culinary.
Wow.
And then one of their sous chef, she's half Japanese, half Filipino. I was telling you about, they come up with all these ideas. And then, other sous chef, he's Mexican. So they all come up with this idea. I love that moment, that joy. I can't put a dollar value on that one. I mean, if again, the brewing side is somehow lessened by it, maybe I don't want to use the word devalued, but there's that part of me, the restaurant. I was telling Christy that when I was 6, 7 years, I said, no, I want to open a restaurant someday. I became a nurse, I did this, and we love to cook. He loves to cook more, but to pair it with beer that he loves and to put it and to have that privilege to run it in your lifetime, once in a lifetime, I can't put a dollar value on that one.
Right.
I swear to God, I cannot. Because if you're in it just for the money and without you getting up here like, hey, what inspires you every morning? Every Tuesday, I really look forward to that moment at 4:00. Hey, I want to take a picture. Let me try.
Yeah.
Every Tuesday.
Well, I mean, I think also when you guys opened, it was at a time where we had Four Peaks, and we talked about this off camera too, but Four Peaks, the North Scottsdale location, was my go-to place. But they also had decent food, like
very, very good food.
And
Christy, oh my God,
they had great food. And
great food.
And then I
love
look at Steve McFate and Fate Brewing and that North
Awesome
Scottsdale.
pizza.
That pizza is still
the best.
I still dream
That's
about that
simple.
pizza.
Yeah.
So like I feel like it may not necessarily devalue, but I feel like there's a need for it because people will show up. Because at the end of the day, even if someone joins and they don't like beer, then they at least can eat.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think you guys made the right decision because during that time, the food truck revolution hadn't happened and people did have to offer food.
Yeah. And I grew up in the 80s where I swear to God, I would not eat food trucks. This is LA. My mom's a nurse. So when you say food truck, she would be like, ew. This is in the 80s in LA. So now it's like, whoa. It's like it's
She's
a
like,
Cadillac.
food truck, you're mispronouncing it. It's pronounced food poison.
The old roach coach.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but back then they had prepackaged sandwiches and Snickers on
Right.
ice. They didn't have anything.
But not like they
Gourmet.
do now.
Yeah, now it's
Or
like the
some of them are
Cadillac.
gourmet, like
Gourmet.
good food.
Yeah.
So-
JB's kind of our resident foodie when it comes to the food trucks and stuff. So he's got a couple of favorites that he. I don't want to see you stock them, but
Oh, they want you to stop.
Yeah.
it, so
Yeah,
that's all right.
which
Yeah.
one? Like
Love waffles. I love
Oh.
waffles.
that's good.
Yeah, they so good. Yeah.
yeah. But it's interesting that how that food truck evolution is kind of paired with a lot of the breweries, and it's kind of been, I want to call it a happy accident, but it was a synergy that just kind of happened. So with you guys having food, you never really had to rely on or find a solution for like, I got a brewery and we serve beers, but we don't have food. Here's a bag of chips. That's our solution. Like until the food trucks came around, that was a battle you guys never really had to deal with. Not that it was simpler by any stretch, because you're also running a restaurant and you have food supply and cost and food handlers cards.
You pick
and,
your poison.
Right, you know what I mean?
Yeah. One of the problems that I know some of the breweries struggled with early on is there weren't as many food trucks, and it would seem like some of them were double, triple booking.
Mm-hmm.
And then
We've heard stories about that.
And then just picking like, no, I'm going to make more money over here. So I told you I was going to be there, but I'm not.
Yeah.
And that happened a lot. I know a couple breweries that had to deal with
We
that.
heard a story of one of the food trucks that would claim they had a flat tire, and they would send a picture of the flat tire, but it was like the same picture they were sending over and over again. So it's clearly like, I call BS on that.
Yeah.
But, with as many food trucks as there are now,
Yeah.
it's kind of become a benefit for the breweries, because the ones that are a little flaky and go elsewhere, fine, I'm not inviting you back. And we'll get the consistent ones that come by. But it's still a challenge. And I think it's good to have the variety of the food trucks. Like, it's going to be different food, but on the flip side, it's kind of difficult, because if you're in the mood for North Mountain, you know what you're getting as far as food, and you know the quality is going to be there, and you know the beer is going to be there. So it's like your whole mindset and mood is like, that is what I want, versus going to a brewery and saying, yeah, I like their beers, I'll figure out what the food truck is, or maybe it's good, or I haven't had it, or it's not my favorite, or there's a level of consistency, I think, that you guys bring by having the product. You know what I mean? That brings people coming back, which I think is good. Even though it is obviously more challenging, there's a lot more headache to it. It's a lot more, makes it more challenging. And like you said, pick your poison.
Yeah.
Has your menu kind of evolved and gotten bigger over the years, or has it kind of stayed the same, or are you guys trying to always invent something?
It's continually evolving. It's gotten bigger. It's gotten smaller. It's gotten through. One thing, COVID did make certain things essential. We did have to streamline to some extent. We did have some favorites have to go away, just because, like, if it's the only thing that uses braised lamb, that's I'm sorry, it's got to go.
Yeah.
And like, I hate to call it out by name, but our shepherd's pie, we used to love our shepherd's pie. Sorry, people, it was the best shepherd's pie in town. If you missed it, I apologize, but we used to braise that lamb, and I'm not a big lamb fan, but we braised it for like 14 hours. It was so good. It was so good. But it didn't sell as well as we would have liked, and that was just a huge expenditure of time and money and everything. And especially at a time when, you got to streamline and lean and mean to the best of our abilities.
Yeah.
I love shepherd's pie.
I do too.
JB's going to need a moment here.
I'll make, when I'm at home, I'll make a Southwest shepherd's pie.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
It's real good.
Did you hear his voice get deeper when he said that? Yeah.
We had it for St. Patty. We sold out at 6 p.m.
Are you gonna do it next St. Patty's Day?
Yeah, we open Monday, and usually we're opening next Monday. By the way, we're bringing it. We're gonna open back Monday. We're like, that's a big experiment. But we open Monday because people like 10 that day. It was like Thursday, and then next Monday is St. Patty's. 10 people asked. The first 2 hours were open. Are you guys gonna open for St. Patty? You gonna have your shepherd's pie? So Jackie, our head chef, goes, Candy, we gotta open Monday. I go, oh shit, I don't want to open Monday.
Right?
Because it's like our cleaning day.
Yeah.
She goes, okay. Then we had a meeting with Rob. Rob's like, yeah, we should open if that many people are asking. So we sold out because she cooked it like the old traditional way, the Irish way. Lamb and beef
This sounds
mixed
amazing.
together. She literally brined it for 6 days.
Wow.
So
Oh my
it was
God.
like a long time. And yeah, it was sold out. Everything was sold out that day.
That was the
For-
corned beef.
Yeah, corned beef and everything. Corned beef and cabbage, and then shepherd's pie gone. Everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because it was.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
good.
it's just I couldn't believe it. I wanted some that night.
You didn't even get to taste it?
I was like, dude, seriously, I don't have anything to take home.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, as she mentioned in there, I might as well put a little. We are gonna reopen on Mondays.
Monday, yeah.
Okay.
We used to be open 7 days a week, and again, everybody had to make adjustments to try to
Right.
survive.
Yeah.
We are gonna shorten our hours into the night, so like last call, we're going to be open till 9, basically Monday through Thursday.
Yeah.
Uh,
8:30 and stuff. So
And but yeah, we're gonna
summer
try
hours.
opening up on Monday again and
Okay.
see if that works and see if we can
So open more days, but just kind of limit the hours a little
Yeah.
bit more.
keep
so.
the hours
We'll
about the
see.
same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna see where it goes and stuff because we're heading into summer. So, but
Yeah.
the menu is evolving because more people are asking about Filipino food. You ask, and we're like, it didn't sell. I'm gonna tell you because we had kare kare and pancit. You know, if you know the Filipino food, and Rob's like, they were being wasted. We had to dump them because we could only eat so much. My family.
Yeah.
So Rob's like, okay, what are we gonna do with the lumpia? Are we because they weren't selling and then we had how many different oysters? And Rob had to pull me out. He goes, "What are you serving? Filipino? Do you see these people that are eating? They're not Asians.
That's hilarious.
They're drinkers. They're a mix of different.
Right?
You gotta make it like what's gonna sell. So we had to nix a lot of the Filipino food. It wasn't selling, so it did evolve. We had to get rid of the oyster, which I love.
We're so uncultured here.
What kind,
Yeah.
what kind of
And,
oysters did you have?
Oh my god!
Blue
there were-
Points, I forget.
Dude,
They all
yeah, Blue
they
Points,
were
yeah.
they were all air shipped in
Uh-huh.
from Maine.
Santa Monica.
They
Yeah.
were
Yeah,
through
Maine.
from Maine. They were
Did you-
East Coast, but through Santa Monica seafood. The problem is either we would sell them or we wouldn't. Sounds
And those
obvious.
go bad quick.
Yeah,
They go
do.
bad
You
so
gotta
quick.
shuck
Yeah.
them.
You
Right?
either
I
s-
used to be a shucker.
Oh,
for a
it's
yeah.
a hard job.
Well,
Yeah.
Like,
you just stab
yeah.
yourself a couple
So yeah,
times.
here you are in this huge rush. The kitchen's backed up, and you have to take a cook off the line to go shuck oysters. You're going to either sell out, and people are going to be upset because you're out, or you're not, and you're throwing them away.
And
It
there's so
just-
much waste
well,
even outside
It
of
was
the.
so yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough
Getting
because
rid of that was a good move. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's a lot.
the feast or
Yeah.
famine, that's tough to plan for.
Yeah.
If at least it was like, well, we got a couple a night, and then you can adjust for that
Yeah.
versus all or nothing. You can't forecast for that. That's
Yep.
oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, because he wasn't selling, and
Yeah.
and that's been what, Rob,
That
9,
was-
10 years.
Yeah, a long time ago.
We
yeah.
used to have Kobe beef.
Really?
People complain about it because it's small and it costs so much more.
Yeah.
They're like, "Hey, you're not in Scottsdale," so we just went to regular
Yeah. Well, neither are you.
Angus beef.
Right, right.
So we have to like because we wanted to like elevate the food.
Yeah.
In Sunny Slope, but so we had to put in just regular Angus beef locally made from Shamrock. So yeah, we had to change everything according to the area.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like the oysters, getting rid of those is a good idea, even though I would have absolutely come here for them. But I feel like if you look at any review, the number one thing anyone can complain about is bad oyster poisoning.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
regardless of if they got sick or not,
Yep.
it's like you can't win because
Yeah.
they're going to be like, I almost died because I ate these oysters. No, you didn't. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You drank too much.
Yep.
So,
The truth.
Yeah.
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 We had to keep those tags, Christy.
Oh yeah,
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Yeah, for 6
that's
months.
Yeah.
that's
What
that's a
tags?
legal thing.
Yeah,
Could
a
you-
Each
legal
batch
thing.
of oysters
Could you-
has a tag, and you have to save that tag in case someone get poisoned.
What
Yeah.
the tag is? What the batch number or like the
Mhm.
date they were
It's like
caught?
Yep.
Or
Yeah.
Comes in
Yep.
a plastic bag.
Yeah.
And you have to like rinse them really bit because there's tons of dirt.
Sand and
It's
stuff. Yeah.
tons of
There,
dirt.
yeah.
I did this for a whole year. I shucked oysters
It's a
for a
hard
whole year.
hit.
another thing that we never knew about
I
JB,
didn't know
like-
that you were a shucker.
It was right. I am a former shucker.
Do you still go to the meetings?
Yes. The shucker meetings.
Shuckers Anonymous.
Yeah,
I once pulled the tag off of an oyster. Just
The worst part was like when I first started, I literally stabbed myself.
oh,
I don't know.
imagine, yeah.
My hand would be bloody, but
Wow.
like, don't worry about that. I'm fine.
Oh, you didn't have the chainmail glove?
Well, they didn't have that at
yeah.
first,
Yeah.
but then we did have that later.
Yeah.
But by
Oh,
that
my
time, I was good enough that I wasn't
didn't
stabbing
need it.
myself.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
Yes, chainmail glove. It's real.
it's a
It
necessity.
is
Mhm.
in the kitchen. It is a invaluable thing.
Wow.
Well, at least if you're wearing it when you need it.
Yeah,
If it's just sitting in the box, then oh well.
Doesn't do a whole lot. Of good.
Doesn't do a
Yeah,
whole lot.
Yeah. As far as the brewery itself, so you've got a beautiful facility.
Thank you.
It is when you walk in, it feels so much bigger on the inside. Like it looks big from the outside. Again, it doesn't look tiny by any stretch, but you walk in and it just feels very open. And it's dark, but in a cozy way, not in a, I'm going to get stabbed kind of way. It's cozy. I equate it to like an Irish pub, right? Your public house, right? It's cozy, it's dark, but it's nice. I love the use of wood that you guys have. And you were telling me some of the big tables that you guys have, the long ones. You made those?
We built those tables by hand.
Wow.
Yep.
Really?
Yep. Before there was North Mountain Brewery, there was North Mountain Table Works. And we had help from family. The Richters from Richter Brewing came over and they helped. And it was kind of a communal thing.
Wow.
But that was back in the brewery, sanding, gluing, doing all that stuff.
All that stuff back there. And then you have some barrels that you put some toppers on to give some like high boys or tall boys or whatever they're called.
And some wheels,
And the wheel, so you can move those around. That's beautiful. But I love the bar and all the taps and things. How many beers do you guys typically have on tap?
20.
20.
Wow, that's a lot.
And that's pretty consistent, or it kind of varies?
19 to 22.
Okay.
But 20 is the goal.
Is the goal.
Yeah.
How much have the beers evolved over the number of years? I mean, obviously, beer trends have changed.
So this is a bigger question than you realize, because I'm going to use this as the launch point to how much the whole
I don't want to waste it.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I'll take it in the glass, though.
I tried something
Candy.
different.
Thank
Candy.
you.
Headphones.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Candy.
very
Oh
much.
my gosh.
I'll try whatever you guys.
One.
Something different.
Not different one.
Yeah, whatever
You
you.
like IPA? You want?
Whatever you use your.
How about
Yeah.
you? Would you like the?
Same. I like the red.
You like dark?
Yeah, I like dark.
Grab them a Dunkolsch.
A dunkel?
Oh,
Can
you'll
I
like
try
that.
the
Oh, yeah,
Simcoe?
Simcoe.
Yeah.
I'll do the
please.
red again because that was.
Oh.
I've never drank so fast on camera before. I used to try to keep it classy and professional, but I just downed it.
Since when?
Since the microphone was turned on.
Otherwise, she's like a sailor. As soon as that turns on, it's like, oh, yes, I will have another one. Thank you.
Please, sir.
Please, sir, may I have some more? No, we're having a blast. This is so much fun. So we appreciate it. Again. Hopefully we're not taking up too much of your time. Hopefully
no.
you guys are having fun too. It's the stories and things that we just love so much. So I'm gonna dive back in while Candy's, so we can get the tea while she's gone. So the ambiance of kind of the space itself, and the brewery itself is in a separate. It's not a separate building, but when you look at it from the outside, it looks like it's its own kind of thing. But the things are connected. So has it always been in that space?
Yes.
Has it always been that size, or have you
No.
grown it over time?
Well, so things are continually changing. I mean, basically from where we opened all the way up to COVID, we were growing 10% a year. We were doing nice growth. When we first came in, I had 4 10-barrel fermenters and 1 10-barrel bright tank. Started adding 20-barrel fermenters as I started putting in cans and kegs and getting into restaurants and even some of the smaller beer stores and stuff. Everything kind of came to a head when, I hate to keep going back to the COVID, but basically there reached a point where I lost another brewer. Brewers, this is one of them. I got to slow down for a sec. Edit this thought process out.
We can clean it up.
So basically, I was forced to accept the fact that it was in my personal best interest. Let me stop. I think, because this is that moment of how do I present this properly,
Right.
and I think I do it with beer in the mouth. So I'll put it to you this way. When I've talked to other brewers that were opening up, friends of mine that were opening up after, and to anyone out there who's thinking that if you're thinking of opening a brewery, among all my cues, my lessons, my do this, if you're the brewery owner, make sure that you have the ability to run your own brewery. You will eventually lose a brewer. You will eventually be put in a spot, and you better be able to pick up the slack. And that's how I've been brewing forever. I opened this with the intent of being a brewer, so that wasn't an issue.
Yeah.
But all this wraps up to the way the industry's evolved. I finally came to the conclusion that I need to retract to where I know I can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
So the point being is, other than a couple friends, people I know, I'm not in restaurants anymore. I don't can to sell. I separated ties with my distributor, and I've pulled back into this building. That way I know that I can carry the load no matter what happens.
Yeah.
This is kind of an answer to the question. You were talking about the evolution of beer
Yeah.
and the brewing industry. And I think a lot of people are going through similar things. You know, you're seeing a lot of, breweries that went out, like in COVID, if you were in a production brewery, you were struggling because everyone was buying beer to take it home.
Right.
But that's kind of flipped back on its head to where some of the bigger production breweries are struggling. And, one thing we have here is that we've made a community connection. So people are coming in not just for the beer, but for everything else that we've done for the dozen years.
One of the things that we noticed with a lot of the breweries that we come to, because if you have that local connection, I think that you're a public house. It's your local.
Mm-hmm.
That, I think, speaks volumes to having the loyalty of the patrons that come back. If you don't have that honest footprint and that honest, loyal following, you're just another commercial brewer.
And that whole public house, that was extremely important to the concept moving forward. I mean, it wasn't just going to be a brewery. It was going to be that specifically.
Because that's where people come to
you.
talk business. That's where they come to deals are made, where you celebrate, where you mourn, it's where the community comes together.
I remember
Christy.
going to
Yeah, I'll taste it.
I remember going to beer festivals
Thank you.
back in the day when I think craft beer was, I hate to say like at its peak, but there was that moment where I think we all know, like, we went to talk to Brandon at Richter, and honestly, I think him and I gelled really well. I'm going to try it.
Yeah, taste-
because we both were in the industry in some way and heavy into it, if that makes sense. Like, the craft beer industry back in the day was like, that was what it was. It was the peak. There were beer releases. People from California would come out. Firestone Walker would do releases. People would travel and wait in line to get specialty beers, and I think that is kind of like the glory days. And I remember you guys always being at the beer festivals and being present, but I feel like the hard part is that the glory days just seem to be, it's not the same. Like,
It is
the
not.
industry used to be so, I'm not saying it's not anymore, but it used to be like cool. Like, people wanted to drink. When you went out, who knew what time you were going to be out till? You just drank and you just meet up with your friends. Who knows going to pop in? But you just go and kind of find out what happens. You know what I mean? And now it just feels like it's more planned and like less about the beer and just more like, well, we're going to go out and play games. Like, where back in the day it was like, they're releasing a specialty beer. I need to be there for it. I need to line up.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And for better and for worse, because to some extent it's because it's more of a mainstream product.
Right.
It's more accepted. It's not as, I don't want to use the word unique because the individual beers are absolutely unique.
Yes.
But, it isn't, the experience isn't so unique. It's not like, oh, wow, this is so I think that's part of it. But yes, there's finances. I mean, there's ongoing, I don't know why I didn't expect that.
It's good. I like it.
The Dunkel.
You like that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's really good. It's a solid beer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So it will rebound. I will say this. I don't know how quickly, and I'll even go into like one of the things that people talk about is the younger generation.
Yes, and the fact that they're not drinking.
I predict,
Not drinking.
because it's funny. I've been, there was some articles out the other day, and there was one article in particular was releasing actual data. I'm sorry, that's crazy nowadays when a news article actually gives you data to
Yeah.
look at. That's and so am I wrong? Am I wrong? And it went through like by decade, drinking habits by age.
Yes.
I didn't interpret the way they wanted me to. I went and looked at it a different way, and what I drew out of that is, and I crystallized this to a very specific statement.
Okay.
Because when you become parents, you can't pull bongs and take care of your child anymore. So that's the point, because let's face it, that's a big part of it. They consider themselves more health conscious.
Right.
I'm sorry, you can't suck on that vape all day and say you're health conscious. But that's a you
You're
thing.
not wrong.
That's a you thing, not a me thing. I mean, just be honest. Whatever, do your thing.
Listen,
I do mine.
it's hard to breastfeed with a vape pen.
You know. but the point being, when you finally realize that you can't just pull bongs on, now you're going to drink that one glass of wine.
Yeah.
So that's where using all their charts and everything, I matriculated. Ooh, how's that for a word?
That's
No,
good.
no,
That was
no,
Scrabble.
no,
No, that was
no,
Scrabble.
Calculated.
That was like 75 points. That was good.
Thank you.
That was good.
I suck at Scrabble, by the way. She's the queen.
I love Scrabble.
Oh.
But the bottom line is when people start having children,
Yes.
Yeah.
they now don't do the other things. I predict they will
They
grow,
might come
start
back
having
to
a beer.
having a beer at dinner or,
I do believe that there will be some reversal.
I've
As far as the golden age, and it's funny because I used to tell people, enjoy this when we first opened, and I would get on, the news or whatever, because we used to get some attention, and I would tell everybody a couple things, and one of them was, you are in the golden age of beer. I hope you realize this, and I hope you're enjoying it.
yeah.
And I'm not saying it's over. There's a little tarnish.
There's cycles.
There's a little tarnish.
Yeah.
And, doesn't help that the government has lately been releasing all these scare tactics, which can't help think are politically motivated. I forget what the one last week is. Drinkers are 80 times more likely to get some disease than people that don't drink. Okay, can we put this in context though? Because
I hadn't heard that story.
Yeah, 80 times.
80
Sounds bad, right?
Yeah.
Did you know that if you buy a lottery ticket from a place that has sold a winning lottery ticket, you're like twice as likely to win? These are the stats we're talking, but that's how they release it. Like 80
times. Yeah, but what's the percentage? Are you going from
exactly
0.1 to 0.8%?
So
Like,
it's
is it really
80 out of a trillion instead of 1 out of a trillion?
right?
So instead of getting struck by lightning twice in your lifetime, which is what winning a lottery is, it's you and your dog getting struck at the same time? Is that what we're doing here? But
Just got a lot of
the
scare
political
Yeah.
the winds are blowing that way.
Right.
So yeah, twice in the last month or two, the FDA has released, or someone like that, some dire sounding stats. But all I ask is for the truth. Can we put that up against DDT,
Right.
which you thought was cool for a while, but now, I mean, can
No,
we
seriously.
compare it to lead paint?
'Cause
I know
everything-
those are things we got rid of. We need to update
Right.
our rhetoric, but you know what I mean. It's just
Can you imagine if that became a thing instead of a wine bar, you have a vape bar? And
Oh,
so
hell no.
with today's hummus, we find that with the garlic, the chutney flavored
good.
vape pen pairs nicely with
So
what?
when we first opened, that's when you could buy the vape oils and blend your flavors.
Yeah,
remember
I
that?
didn't know
Yeah, I
that,
do.
but our employees were really
Oh my
into it.
God.
They'd be
They-
like
yeah, they
trading
did. Our
formulas
daughter,
and
yeah.
stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't even
my
know that.
nieces, they were. Oh my god.
I would much rather be measuring out minerals.
Right.
On your cocaine scale, on the mirror with the razor blade.
Less calories.
That's funny.
I think that is officially negative calories on that one.
It wasn't a problem until she started snorting it. That was the problem. Because the beers didn't turn out right. The mineral profile wasn't correct. It was a
We're
shame.
short
It was a shame.
product.
Yeah. Yeah. Calcium chloride. It's not.
It's one of the bummers. At the Kitsune Fest, I wasn't feeling good. I ended up bailing out like before we closed. I snuck out. I wasn't feeling great. I snuck out and slept in my truck with my feet sticking out the door, which when I woke up and fully realized that I was like the first car by the gate. And Tyler was walking by staring at me. I don't know if he knew it was me or not. I think he just saw that the first car by his entrance was snoring with his feet sticking out. It's just like the whole, all right, man, I guess I could have presented better. But the whole point is I ended up getting out of there. And I got to be honest, the only reason I'm I know a lot of brewers are in the same, I'm over festivals.
Yeah.
That festival, okay, fine. That was a nice,
Fun.
It was
communal
intimate.
thing.
It was a good crowd.
Yeah.
I really
it was
wanted to
good.
do it though, to hang out with the brewers after, and for that half an hour. That was always the funnest part of festivals.
Yeah.
In the old days.
Were you guys able to do that this time?
Well, I had.
Well,
I
you were
wasn't feeling
sleeping,
good. I
but
got
what about
out.
everybody else?
Yeah.
April
Well, no,
and
they
Brent.
did for
They
a
did
little
it.
bit, but
And
yeah, that was the bummer.
was
The
fun.
point being, yes, it's the
I did.
social
I
thing.
did. I stayed.
Okay.
But
You
I
drove
you
away.
represented.
yeah.
At the end of the old festivals, back in the day, I mean, I would bring a football or something. And,
That's cool.
and for half an hour, you don't have a lot of time. You've been there all day, but finally you get to walk around. Everybody had the down low stash. Like, okay, here's what we've been serving all day, but hey, yeah, here, I'm going to pour this down low. Everybody had, it was the best. You'd go around, you'd try everyone's good stuff.
That's
you'd
awesome.
BS for real. You'd throw the football around for 15 minutes. And then you'd get out of there because, again, it's been a long day.
Yeah.
The sun's
Setting
set.
up,
Yeah.
taking down.
Just that extra 30 minutes. But when the guild throws a fest, they have the DLLC climbing up their hoo-ha.
Hoo-ha. Hoo-ha.
Hoo-ha. And,
I like hoo-has.
I
Oh
like
my
hoo-has.
gosh. Wow. Okay.
Speaking of oyster shucking,
But that's not what we're talking
I'll
about.
probably edit that out.
Did I do this?
That won't make the reel.
Did I set this up? Did I somehow unwittingly?
No.
Absolutely
Yes.
not.
We're
This is
always
just a
like
normal-
this.
is
This is us.
No, I think
This is us.
when you swirl the drain on something like hoo-ha, you're asking for it. You get what you deserve. But anyway, so they wouldn't let that because the liquor license ends, and
Well, I think one of the and speaking of beer fests, right? Like we've gone to a number of beer fests and things over the years, and even from a patron standpoint, who isn't behind the scenes? We're not involved in the brotherhood or the sisterhood or the family that is the brewers, and they're sharing their stuff and throwing like there's a kind of a club that I think is not as strong as it used to be, and I don't know that for a fact. I feel like it's a little bit fragmented. We can maybe dive into that in a minute. But from a patron standpoint, the beer fests are not the same as they used to be. And not to dig on or dog on any of the beer fests, but Strong Beer Fest is an example. We went a couple of years ago. We haven't been back because, well, the tickets are expensive.
Yeah.
Fair enough. There's demand. You don't want it to be overcrowded, so I get that. But then most of the stuff that we're tasting, you can get off the shelf at the grocery store.
Yeah.
There was nothing, very, very few breweries actually brewed up something special for strong beer. And it wasn't as much fun
Yeah,
to
no,
be able to
it's
go
so
in and do
true.
that. And I'm certainly not dogging on the breweries. I
Yeah,
know it's a
yeah.
huge expense for them to go to these beer fests, and they don't
I
make
think
any money on it.
If
I
I'm
mean,
gonna be
it's
if I'm gonna be honest, I think
interesting.
it's the clientele that's changed too. Where
and that.
and I don't feel like a lot of the breweries want to be there. First off, they're spending their own money to bring kegs, but then you get the excuse my language, but the douchebags that are like, "Give me your strongest beer. Like, what's your biggest
Yes.
ABV beer?"
And
it's
that
like-
was
and
well,
I'm like,
Yeah.
"You're not here for the beer. You're here to just get
Yes.
effed
Yeah,
up."
yeah.
Like,
It's so true.
you know,
Yeah.
and that's where I feel like it's not when I went to one of the first ones in Mesa Amphitheater when they used to do it there, and I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys remember that, but
Yeah, we were there.
Stone
that was
was-
fun.
No, not amazing.
Not amazing.
but
Downtown.
it was fun, but it was genuinely, it was like when Stone was just getting big, and like it was, and they brought Arrogant Bastard and all their like high ABV beers, and it was cool. And then from that point forward, it just moved towards this huge festival, but let's just make as much money as possible, and people that showed up legitimately just wanted to get effed up.
Well, to your point, like when we went to Strong Beer Fest, we paid for the VIP tickets so we could get in early, and then when the general admission kind of came in at like 1:00 or whatever it was like the floodgates were open, and it was like these people aren't here to enjoy the beer and talk to the brewers and like appreciate. They're like, I'm here to get through all my tickets.
Yeah.
And so generally, we once they open the floodgates, we're like, all right, we're out. We're it's not the same.
And so everything you said, plus add to the fact that they were making money, and pre-COVID, like everybody and their mother was throwing a festival.
Mm-hmm.
And from a brewer's perspective, if I'm not your first 3 beers, you'll have no idea. Your palate is already
It's
racked.
blown out.
Yeah.
And at this point, yeah, I'm just going to be, need to be your first guy, second guy, third, or there is zero marketing. So now why am I here?
Yeah.
And they used to be fun, but as they got a little more onerous, and yes, as customers got that line specifically,
their goals
just
were
give me your
different.
highest ABV. And
Yeah.
and I'm sitting there with my 13.2% Imperial Stout, which is not a cheap beer to make.
No.
And all you want to do is get a little shitty. So, yeah, no, that there's a lot of reason to not want to go to them.
It's
And-
the fest are not the same. So the Kitsune Beer Fest was one of the first ones that we've been to in a while that had that intimate feel again. It wasn't like things have become, you know? It was definitely, I thought Tyler did a great job. And it was really cool to hear, too, about the hangout afterwards for the brewers, which I'm sorry you missed.
Yeah. I'm sure they made it through without me.
I mean, back in the day too with festivals, it was different too because I feel like breweries had, if you wanted to, you can hang out after, but yeah, you want to get out of there as fast as possible. But some distributor was throwing some little get together at some after party after that, and it was more like collaborative and just like, I don't know, I think maybe it's because I'm old, but it just reminded me of like partying back in the day. Like that was my way of partying, and now I'm just like, I don't have it in me anymore. Like, and I don't know if breweries still have the relationships with their distributors anymore, but it's just different. But I remember distributors used to throw parties and do stuff, and like it was a big deal. I don't know.
Well, hopefully back to your point, too, the industry will start to turn back around as far as the people that aren't necessarily drinking as much or appreciating craft beer as much, that hopefully that will start to revert as they mature and get older and are able to appreciate kind of beer for what it is a social beverage and bringing people together, you know?
I do think we'll see some of that. I don't know if the old school feel of festivals will come back.
Probably
though.
not. I don't think so.
wouldn't-
I think that was the golden era. I think that magic can't be recreated. It was such a synergy of so many different things falling in place at the right time to make that really, really special.
And like you said, the patrons wanting more, wanting to talk to the brewer, wanting something special.
Yeah.
As opposed to a lot of people just now. Yeah, let's go drink in the park.
Yeah.
And I've drinking in the park plenty of times, people. Nothing wrong with that. I don't mean.
Yeah.
But I think that's what sets Brian and I and JB apart is that like this is a very cool experience for us, if I'm gonna be honest, because him and I both were like, oh my gosh, like we respect brewers so much, like we would never back in the day ask, can we see like your brewery, or can we go on a brew day? Like this has kind of opened up a door for us to like, we still have the passion for it, if that makes sense, but like you remember when we were like, oh my god, like can I get in here and can I meet this brewer? Like for me, like you meet Sam Calgione, or you meet
With your bocce ball tournaments with Sam.
or
Yeah.
you meet
Hey, you dropped that name. Do you want to pick that up?
no,
No.
you know,
I think this is the first time my name and his name have been paired together, so I appreciate that.
no,
Thank you.
I mean, I'm not just saying that, but like you get to know who the head brewer, who the owner and the head brewer is, and that means something, if that
It
makes
does.
sense. Like
It does.
like it wasn't just like, oh, this is just a brewery, but no, this guy does this and this person does this. This person is the representative, like Jim Koch, or not. What's his name? Who's the guy from Stone? Was it Ed or Jim?
No, it's
You know what I'm talking about.
yeah. not-
But like, this guy's the face, but then there's a brewer behind it, and you go into this deep dive, and you're like, I want to know everything about this brewery. Like, I don't know. So that's how him and I are. Like, this is beyond our imagination, because we would never have had the courage to ever go in and be like, can we do this? If that makes sense.
The stupid thing is, sorry, my
Restless
RLS
mind
is
syndrome.
running a little wild. The name of his band is the Pain Relievers, but I
Oh.
can't think of his name.
Greg Koch.
Koch.
Koch, yeah.
Because I've actually seen his band play.
Really?
Yeah, they played for the CBC once years ago, and it was pretty funny. It was what
But
it
then
was.
there's the brewer from, is it Sam Adams?
Sam
No,
Adams, that's Jim Cook.
Jim Cook.
Sam
Okay.
Adams. This good motherfucking beer. Sorry.
It gets you fucked up.
I'm so glad everyone's seen that.
You're welcome.
I have no control anymore. And that's okay.
I think we
It was-
thought that our podcast with Brandon Richter went off the rails, but this is giving it a run for its money.
It's okay.
No, we love it.
I love it.
This
Oh, I
We're
feels-
here
love it.
for it.
This
We're
is
here
great.
for it.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is nice and stable, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, you guys are providing a stabilizing force for me, I guess.
No, I think it's just because we have so much in common and just are so excited to be
Yeah.
here. Like, I don't know. I'm not just fangirling, but these
Please
guys know,
don't.
these guys know that. Like, you know, boo. This is gonna sound. Do not take this the wrong way. I was not a brewery groupie, but I did like. No, you know what I mean. Like,
No, let her finish. This is getting good. I want to. Where are we going? But
but I would go to breweries and try to meet the head brewers because I don't know. It's like going to a concert and meeting your favorite band.
Like-
Okay, I'm gonna stop.
Like a brewery groupie. So how big's your bright tank?
so
It's
can I
stainless,
see
isn't it?
your mash paddle?
That's solid wood, isn't it?
I did not.
Oh my god.
Cast resin, baby.
Anyway,
I tried
Is
not
that
to
a
laugh, but
fooder I
can't help
see?
it.
Get my beer engine running.
wow. Okay.
Anyways.
Anyway,
Sorry. So yeah, beer groupie. I'm crying right now. It's. I mean, I'm laughing on the outside, but I'm crying on the inside.
sports broadcasting, and the ironic thing is, I never followed any athletes or cared about any athletes.
Just the brewers.
You're making me blush over here.
Anyway, so what's your next question, Brian?
So the beer fest have changed,
Yes.
which is a
Everything
shame.
has changed,
Everything has
by the way.
changed, and we've talked to a lot of the breweries too that have started to implement different activities. They've got karaoke, they've got craft, they've got yard games. They've got to try to help bring people in addition to kind of what they have. What you have here, you've got a full menu in a restaurant. You've got the bar and everything. You have a game room that's kind of off to the side, and I get a chance to poke my head in there. I'll look at it later, but I know JB kind of poked his head in there a little
It's
bit.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah. So is there?
I was geeking out in there, man. You got all those pinball machines, and then the retro Galaga, but you could also do Donkey Kong, and
Yeah, it's got 30 games on
that's
it or
dope.
something.
Really
yeah.
dope.
They have Galaga.
Yeah.
Galaga and yeah.
I might be here a while today. Yeah.
I'm coming back with my friends for sure,
Oh yeah.
without a doubt.
Got some golden tea, dartboard. I used to have a foosball table. It fell apart.
Oh, that's a shame.
It was my foosball table from college.
Okay.
And some of you may have seen it. It has traveled to many of a brew fest. I used to take it and set it up. And my whole smart ass thing was you can play the brewer. Most people didn't want to play the brewer. They just wanted to play their friends.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm not insulted. But my joke was, if you beat me, I owe you a beer. If you beat me, if I beat you, oh, wow. Mental. Just
Heads I win, tails you lose.
I know. I got stuck in that. So if I win, you have to try my beer. But if you beat me, I owe you a beer.
That works.
Seemed like a good deal.
Yeah.
Very good
Yeah.
deal, actually.
But it did. I mean, hey, it just tripped me up. A lot of people had to stop and wait, which I always thought was funny, but it's not funny now.
They had
Now that it's in my head,
Yeah.
it's not nearly as funny. But anyways, yeah. So
With the foosball table. How
foosball
busy
table.
does the video game area get?
it's hit or miss. I mean, it'll fill up. We have people that quite honestly go in there and they don't buy anything. They just play.
They just
or
play the
might-
games.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
they might get a snack or something. They're not here for the beer, but that's fine. That's what it's here for.
Yeah.
It's So, as always, I would like to see it get more love.
Yes.
I think it's a cool little room. I think we did all right.
Oh, it's beautiful in there. They got a ton of games, ton of options. I mean, again, I didn't get a chance to go in there, but I kind of walked by and I was surprised with how many games.
You keep coming up with shirt names. I'm here for the beer.
I want to get a screener and start making my own shirts. I'd say them now, but then someone will steal them and they'll make millions, and I can't let that happen.
Dude,
Yeah, I'm just taking notes. Don't
Right,
worry.
I
Don't
know.
forget about that.
Get Rob drunk. Talk shirts.
Yeah, when we're short on inspiration, we'll just come by and be like, "Hey, Rob, have a beer with me. We need inspiration. We need ideas." Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Guys, thank you so much for having us out. We really appreciate it. I always try to come prepped with like a list of questions and things that I want to ask, but I think we had so much fun that I didn't even have to get to them or anything.
fun.
We will definitely have to come back because I'd love to talk more. I want to showcase more of your brewery because it is so beautiful. You have so many options and things for people to come and enjoy and appreciate beer along with the food and the menu and all of that. So we'll definitely be back if you'll have us. Hopefully we haven't been kicked out yet.
Definitely.
We'll see. But we'll definitely want to come back and get a progress update, and we don't want it to be next year. We'll come back in a month or two and kind of see how things are going. But we appreciate you guys sitting down with us. It was so awesome.
Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Thank you for
We
having
Yeah, a lot
appreciate
of
the
fun.
time.
Like, I
Absolutely. JB's like, I had a blast.
JB has food in front of him
Yeah.
right now, so he's like super
Yeah,
stoked.
he's ready to go. All right. But again, I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you
Yeah,
so
thank
much.
you so much.
Catch you later, my friends.
Oh,
It's
definitely.
actually a
Hurry
great
up.
close. Cheers.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh my god, JB, I've never seen you drink so fast.